Okay, so today we're diving into something that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it could actually end up in your lunchbox. We're talking about tiny, powerful lasers that you can eat. Yeah, you heard that right. Let's get into it.
I mean, it sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? But what if it could be? Imagine if we could put these tiny little information-packed lasers right into our food. Not on the package, but in the food itself. Think about how that could make everything safer and, well, smarter. That's exactly the wild idea we're digging into today.
So before we get into the cool science of how you make an edible laser, we need to talk about why you'd even want to. And trust me, the problem they're trying to solve is a really big one. It affects pretty much everything you buy, from your groceries to your medicine.
I mean, the stakes here are super high. We're talking about counterfeit products that could be genuinely dangerous, or food spoilage that can make people seriously sick. The way we do things now, with paper labels and barcodes, it's not cutting it anymore.
And this chart really lays it all out. Think about it. The current way we do things, it's all on the packaging. A paper barcode can be faked, it can be ripped off, it can be totally misleading. And it's static, right? The date on a milk carton just tells you when it might go bad. It doesn't know if you left it out in the sun for an hour. The ideal solution? Well, it would have to be inside the food, totally tamper-proof, able to give you real-time info, and readable with something simple.
Okay, and this is where the breakthrough comes in. This is the cool part. A team of researchers figured out a way to check every single one of those boxes. And the solution? A tiny micro laser that's made out of 100% edible stuff.
And that's the key right there. These aren't just biocompatible or non-toxic. We're talking about lasers where every single part, the bit that traps the light, the bit that amps it up, it's all stuff you could find in your kitchen. Nothing's chemically changed, which means they are completely, totally safe to eat. And when you look at the ingredients list, it's just wild. We're talking about chlorophyll, the stuff that makes plants green, or vitamin B2. The body of the laser can be made from oils, or butter, or even jello. And get this, the researchers found that regular old olive oil has enough natural chlorophyll in it to work as a laser all on its own. How cool is that?
So, using these everyday ingredients, they can build two main kinds of these tiny lasers. The first one, the whispering gallery mode, is easy to picture. Just think of a microscopic drop of oil. The light gets trapped inside, just bouncing around the inner surface. The other type, Fabry-Pero, is more like a tiny hollow mirrors, with light bouncing back and forth between two parallel surfaces.
So, what can you actually do with an edible laser? Well, the first big application is to create the ultimate barcode, one that actually lives inside your food, not just on the label. The process itself is just brilliant in its simplicity. Scientists create thousands of these microscopic oil droplets all in very specific predetermined sizes. So a tiny droplet of one size could be a 1, and a slightly different size could be a 0. Then you just mix a cocktail of these different size droplets right into a product and bam, you've encoded a huge amount of information, like an expiration date or where it came from.
And don't underestimate how powerful this is. Just by using 14 different sizes of oil droplets, you can create over 16,000 unique codes. To put that into perspective, that's enough to give a product a brand new code every single day for the next 44 years. That's incredible.
And this is not just theory, they've actually done it. To prove the concept, the team encoded a specific date into a jar of peach compote using these droplets, and after sitting on a shelf for a whole year, the barcode was still perfectly readable. It really works.
But here's where it gets even cooler. These lasers can do way more than just store data. Their second, and maybe even more amazing ability is to act as tiny little sensors that are actively monitoring the food they're in. You see, the light that comes out of these microlasers is super precise, which means it's also super sensitive to what's going on around it. So you can design them to detect all kinds of things. A change in pH could tell you your milk is going sour. They can spot bacteria growing. They could even tell you if that frozen product you bought actually thawed out and was refrozen.
Let's look at a few quick examples. You could make a pH sensor where the laser's body swells up if the food gets too acidic, and that changes the light signal. Or how about this one for temperature? A tiny bead of butter. If it gets too warm, it melts, deforms, and breaks the laser for good, a permanent record that it got too hot. For bacteria, you could use a laser made of gelatin, which gets literally eaten by the microbes, making the laser signal just disappear.
So, you put all this together, what does it really mean? This is way more than just a neat lab trick. This could fundamentally change how we think about the safety and history of our food.
This right here is the whole game. It's about moving that critical information off of the package and putting it inside the product itself.
For the very first time, the food we eat could carry its own unfakeable, dynamic certificate of authenticity and freshness.
And the potential impact is just massive. It's a huge weapon against counterfeit food and fake medicines. It gives us, the consumers, real-time data on whether something is still good to eat, which could drastically cut down on food waste. This one piece of tech tackles so many huge challenges in our supply chain all at once.
So it all comes down to this really amazing question. What if your food could tell you its entire story? Where it came from, how it got to you, and if it's truly fresh right this second. With edible lasers, that future might be a lot closer and a whole lot more delicious than any of us think.